I've seen some discussion online about whether or not so-called femcels actually exist, so I thought I'd give my take. And for those that don't know, a femcel is basically just a female version of an I word, a man cell. And from what I've seen online, there's definitely a lot of different ways people define the term femcel, but for the sake of this video, I'm defining it like this. A femcel is a woman that wants to have intimate relations but is unable to find a partner despite her best efforts. So, do these people exist? Are there femcels out there, or is this all just a myth? Because we all know the male equivalent does exist, that's a no-brainer, and it's not even uncommon. I mean, you're listening to one talk right now. And for men, the three most common reasons they might struggle to find a partner are: 1, they're ugly; 2, they're mentally ill or autistic; and the third reason, which is maybe the biggest reason, is just the fact that the societal expectation is for men to be the ones that initiate relationships, so men can't just exist in the world and then get approached by women and find a partner that way. They have to actually put forth some effort if they want to find love. So obviously, when it comes to femcels, well, since that societal expectation to be the initiator is not there, just for that reason alone, we know that at the very least, femcels are going to be a lot less common than mancels. But do they exist at all? If you do a Google search or if you search on YouTube, you'll find dozens of Reddit discussions, YouTube videos, and even some scholarly articles, if you can believe that, all about femcels. But I'll go ahead and save you some time, and I'll let you know that most of the recent YouTube videos and articles about femcels are actually about self-identified femcels, which seems to stem from a recent TikTok trend. And I didn't even know about this, but yeah, there's a lot of feminist type girls lately that call themselves femcels, and they're all about what they call the femcel aesthetic. And their whole thing is that they voluntarily refuse to sleep with men due to misogyny or something. I don't really know, but they are not femcels in the sense that most of us think of, and that whole thing it's not what we're talking about here. So yeah, trying to find information about femcels online is pretty much impossible at this point, because the search results are so cluttered with whatever this TikTok thing is. And I know I could do a filtered search to leave out any results from the past year or so, but yeah, I mean, I don't really care that much. So anyway, here's what I think about the whole thing. I think somewhere in the world, out of all the 4 billion women, or however many it is, I think there's probably at least 1 or 2 true femcels out there. But I think it's probably so exceedingly rare that for all intents and purposes, we can just say, no, femcels do not exist. And even in those extremely rare cases of actual true femcels that might hypothetically exist, there would have to be a perfect combination of extreme ugliness, mental dysfunction, and uncommonly unlucky life circumstances. And I don't know, thinking about it now, there really might not even be any true femcels in the world at all. Because, well, let's just break it down analytically. If you look at the root causes that lead to so many men being mancels, those things just don't apply to women, or they don't matter for women. Right, so let's take a look at it. So root cause number 1, being ugly. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, some women are ugly. But ugly women don't suffer the same fate as ugly men because men are horn dogs. No matter how ugly a woman is, even if she has a genetic condition where her face is completely disfigured, there are still plenty of men out there that will take her to the rodeo. They might want to put a bag over her head first, but they're still going to do it anyway. That's just how men are. And I know that because I know how low my own standards are. And I mean, men truly are depraved when it comes to this kind of thing. I guarantee you, whatever kind of extreme disfigurement or ugliness you can imagine a woman having, there's probably thousands of men out there that specifically fetishize and actively seek out women with that trait. So being ugly just isn't a barrier for women like it is for men. It might make it a lot harder for a woman to find a man to wife her up and truly love her for who she is, but that's not what we're talking about here. So yeah, the first root cause of mancellism is being ugly. And as I just explained, that doesn't affect women the same way it affects men. So the second root cause of men being unable to find a partner is mental illness, autism, or personality disorders. And the biggest one here is probably high inhibition or social anxiety, which I think often goes along with autism. But even a low inhibition autistic man is going to have trouble with women just because they'll think he's a creep or that he's weird or whatever. But yeah, there's two major factors at play here. One is that if a man has social anxiety, then he's just screwed because social anxiety makes it extremely difficult to initiate any kind of social interaction. So, since men are expected to be the ones who initiate any and all types of romance, a man with social anxiety is going to have a very, very tough time trying to find a partner. And that's just completely irrelevant for women. A woman with social anxiety, I mean, you could hardly even call it a disorder when it's a woman that has it because it's really not going to have much impact on her life. She'll still get approached by men all the time, and actually, a lot of men prefer shy women. So yeah, it's just not a factor for women. And the other thing is that if a man has autism or mental illness or just has an unusual personality in any way, women are going to be creeped out by him because women don't care about your personality. They care about how jealous other women will be when they see her with you. So, being autistic or weird or mentally ill, I mean, if a man is mentally ill, he's literally just going to be frightening to women, so that's a no-go. But a woman that's weird or autistic or mentally ill, it just doesn't matter. And if anything, most men love quirky women. Autism does not hurt women romantically at all, whatsoever. And neither does mental illness, because men just do not care. And again, there's lots of men, whatever mental illness we're talking about, whether it's bipolar, schizophrenic, antisocial disorder, Tourette's syndrome, whatever it is, there's men out there that specifically seek out women with that trait. So being ugly won't make a woman a femcel, and being super high inhibition won't make a woman a femcel, and being mentally ill won't make a woman a femcel, and being autistic won't. And women don't have to approach, so they can just exist in the world and they'll be approached. So all of these things, I mean, how are you even gonna act like femcels exist? They don't. They don't exist. Femcels are a myth. And I'm not denying the existence of celibate women. I know a lot of black pill guys like to say, all women are like that, or whatever it is, I know a lot of you think all women are turbo floozies with 3-digit body counts, but that's cope. There are women out there with moral fiber, and there are women out there with conservative values or whatever it is, if that's what you're into. They do exist. And I'm not saying it's common, but they do exist. They just don't want you. And they don't want me. But in your case, you cope by saying, Walt, all women are like that. All women are evil succubi, and they're all going out every single night looking for Chad and Tyrone to help them build the Eiffel Tower. But that's not true, and you know it. It's just another cope. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, celibate women do exist, but, and this is the main point here, involuntarily celibate women do not exist. And there are lots of women online that will swear up and down that they are involuntarily celibate, but you know what? That is cope. Those women know just as well as you and I know that they could find a banana to peel any day of the week. They just don't like the trees in their area. They're holding out for a banana that's just perfectly ripe, in just the right way, just how they like it. But if you really press one of these so-called femcels on what her experience has been like, she'll fold. Eventually she will fold. She'll have to admit that, yeah, actually she has been approached. She has been propositioned. It's just that she didn't like the looks of what was being propositioned to her. So she rejected it. And one other thing I wanted to talk about, the whole thing, like the whole reason there's a growing number of women online appropriating the femcel label, it's just another example of women seeing men having their own groups and just not being able to stand it. Women do not like it when men exclude them. And it's funny because in this case, really it was women excluding and rejecting us men, and that's the whole reason we congregated online and formed these communities around our shared struggles in the first place. But even in that case, when the origin of the whole thing was the fact that women excluded us, women still feel excluded by the same men they rejected. They feel so excluded, they started to try and appropriate the whole cell culture. It's truly ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what you call behavior like that. It's like sociopathy on a societal level. Just bizarre. It's just bizarre. It's crazy. But no, femcels do not exist. And if you ever meet a woman claiming to be a femcel, just ask her one thing. Ask her if she's ever had to turn a guy down.